Hello Cyprus users, welcome back to our channel. In the last session what we have gone through is the client preparation. After generating the client, there are certain initial steps and those we need to execute to set up the Cyprus system properly. To set up the Cyprus system, first we just need to log in with the administrator user, and thereafter we need to generate the legal and the non-legal entities that are referred as organization into the system. So let's go through creating the organizations known as legal and the non-legal entities. Now, what basically the legal entities are? So the legal entities are a distinct and the recognized organization in the eyes of the law, or you can say when an legal entity is there, it means there is a certain liability of the legal entities to pay off the taxes to the government. Okay? And the legal entities can enter into the contracts, own properties, and sue or be sued in a court of law. While the non-legal entities refers to an organization that does not have the legal recognition and is not considered a distinct entity under the law. So that's basically the legal and the non-legal entities. Enough chit-chat. Now let's move on to the system and we'll see how to create the legal and the non-legal entities into the Cyprus. So I'm at the Cyprus interface at the moment with my login credentials as SCL admin, the client which we have prepared last time, SCL technologies. Now the admin role and the admin user is basically the SCL admin. So I have logged in with the admin role and we'll go through, and thereafter we'll make some legal entities and some non-legal entities. So after entering your credentials, you must have to choose a certain role, your client as SCL Technologies, your organization as SCL Technologies. Into the last session, I have already told you that when you enter a certain organization details at the level of the client process, the system auto-generates one of the organization into the system. So that organization is reflecting here, that known as SCL Technologies. So let's move on into the system now. So that's the landing page of the Cyprus ERP system. So there are various functionality associated with the landing page that we'll discuss later on. We'll prepare a certain video that helps our users to understand how can it be utilized, because since there are certain workflow activities, there are certain notices, certain requests used to come onto the landing page only. Now for creating the organization, what you need to do, you can search organization window, and here you would be able to see the SCL Technologies is available, which is marked as legal entity. So once the legal entity is there, you would be able to verify all the details of the legal entity. So here the address will be auto populated by the tenant process or the client process, and then the organization type you would be able to select. If you want to create further organization type, you would be able to zoom the organization types and can create the organization type. Thereafter, what's basically the warehouse? So you would be able to select the warehouse for the legal entity which gets generated by the client process or the tenant process. One of the warehouse for that particular legal entity would be generated by the system. So that's the warehouse. You would be able to select your default warehouse. There might be a number of warehouses for a single organization. So you just need to select your primary warehouse that would be utilized while logging. So I'm selecting as standard. If you want to make the changes, you can zoom across, and thereafter you would make the changes at the warehouse. Right now the name is standard. You can rename it to SCL warehouse. Save this. Thereafter you just need to create some locators. I'll discuss in a separate video about how to create the warehouses and the locators, what's their importance. So we'll discuss this all later on in some other video. So once it is done, thereafter you just need to enter your supervisor, the DUNS, that is the Dun Street number. It would be utilized into the US. If you do have this, then you would need to enter it out, otherwise you will enter a certain space or a dot or a question mark, whatever the special character you want to enter. You can enter it. The tax ID of the organization you need to link. If there is a dropship warehouse for this particular organization, then you would be able to bind your dropship warehouse. Okay. And if your fiscal year is something different for this organization, while the fiscal year for the another organization is different, then you can select your calendar, enter the detail of the phone number, the second phone number, the fax number, the email address of the organization. You need to enter all these details at this particular level. Select your logo. If you place this logo, or if you want to place this logo, you would be able to bind this logo at this particular place. So that's the logo, and this logo will be printed on your print formats by default. Once you have entered all these details, save the organization info. It would say you need to relog in to start your application server for most of the changing made here to be effective. Okay, so we'll restart later on, and that is how we can generate the organization. Now the next thing is how to create a non-legal entity. Let's suppose I want to create a sales department as my profit center here as a non-legal entity. What I can do is SCL profit center, or you would be able to give a certain name here. So you can give a certain name. You can select here, and I would say this is my search key as well. I can save the details. Only difference here is basically you need to select that a particular cost center or a profit center belongs to which particular legal entity. So here the legal entity is SCL Technology. Okay, and then we need to move on to the info and need to enter all the details the way we have entered for the organization and save this record. So that is how we can generate all the legal and the non-legal entities. The important part is whichever the entity you are generating here, you need to process the transaction in these entities. So that is how we can create a legal and a non-legal entities into the Cyprus ERP. I hope now you would be able to process, or you would be able to configure the legal and the non-legal entities into the Cyprus ERP. And I hope this video would be beneficial for all of you. We'll come back again. Till then, bye bye, ciao.